Okay, so let's dive in. What if the biggest revolution in AI, what if it isn't really what most people are talking about right now? I mean, we hear a lot about AI writing code, which, don't get me wrong, is already huge, right? It's transforming industries. But maybe there's something much more fundamental happening, this deep dive. We're looking at a really profound shift in the tech landscape, something that's happening right now, but maybe 99% of people don't quite see it yet.
That's exactly right. And our mission today really is to unpack the current state of AI development and maybe shine a light on this critical infrastructure gap. It's a gap that's actually holding AI back from reaching its full economic potential. We think understanding this gap is absolutely key to grasping the future of AI, and honestly, key to participating in it effectively.
Right. So maybe let's start with some immediate facts, things that show this shift is already underway. I was looking at GitHub's latest data, and it's pretty staggering. AI generates, what, 46% of developers' code now?
Yeah.
On average.
Yeah, 46% average. And it gets even more specific. For Java developers, it jumps to 61%. Incredible numbers.
Wow. And developers using these AI tools, they're coding faster, something like 55% faster.
Up to 55% faster, that's what the reports are showing. It's a massive productivity boost.
And it's not just small startups playing around with this. You mentioned 90% of Fortune 100 companies have adopted these tools already.
90%. Already integrated.
Okay, so let's unpack that. This isn't some, far-off prediction. This is happening now. This is like Tuesday.
Exactly. It's the current reality. But, and this is the crucial part, the real revolution isn't just AI writing the code itself. That's kind of the first wave, an amazing one. But the piece most people miss is what comes next. What happens when you have millions, maybe billions, of these AI agents needing to actually transact, to build economic relationships with each other.
Ah, okay. So it's about the interaction between AIs.
Precisely. That's the core insight. That's the next frontier we need to grapple with.
Let me try an analogy here. Imagine you have this brilliant employee, right? Works 24/7, never sleeps, output is flawless, maybe 100 times faster than a human. Sounds amazing.
The dream employee.
Totally. But now imagine that same employee cannot open a bank account, can't sign a contract, can't get paid for all that amazing work they do, can't even, hire another agent to help them out on a task.
That is exactly the situation AI agents are in today. It's a perfect analogy. They have these incredible capabilities that they can build almost anything you can imagine. But economically, they're trapped. They're stuck.
They can't participate in the economy they're helping to build.
Right. And this isn't just some small technical hurdle. It's a huge economic bottleneck, a monumental one. We've looked at the numbers, and conservatively, you're talking about maybe $3.5 trillion in annual value that's just locked away right now. And that figure compounds year over year.
$3.5 trillion annually.
At least. It's trapped value. These agents are hitting what we call the 7 walls of the prison. Think about it. Things like identity verification. How do you prove an agent is who or what it says it is?
Right.
Then there's banking access, contract execution. How do they make binding agreements? Asset ownership. Can an AI own the code it creates? Or data? These are fundamental economic barriers.
Okay, so these walls are preventing trillions in value creation. That sounds... Well, it sounds like a massive problem, but also maybe a massive opportunity.
It is. This isn't just a limitation. Solving it is quite possibly one of the greatest economic opportunities in human history. To really get the scale, let's maybe walk through the evolution, the waves of AI development.
Okay, the waves. Where have we come from?
So wave 1, we call augmentation. That was roughly 2020 to 2023. It's pretty much complete now. This is AI as your coding assistant. Think GitHub Copilot. We saw adoption there go from basically 0 to 47% in just, 36 months. Really fast.
Okay, augmentation, done. What's next?
Wave 2 is automation. That's where we are right now. Think 2024, maybe into 2025. Now, AI isn't just assisting, it's a coding partner. It's writing entire features.
A partner.
And the cost implications here are just staggering. You're seeing cost reductions for equivalent output around 76% today.
76%.
Today. And that could potentially hit 95% by 2026. Compare, say, a traditional 5-person human dev team costing maybe $900,000 a year.
Yes, standard cost.
Versus maybe one AI architect overseeing a team of AI agents. That could be closer to $215,000 a year for the same or even better output.
That's a massive difference. Are companies actually seeing this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look at Klarna. They apparently reduced their engineering team from 700 down to 400, but their feature velocity increased by 300%.
Wow. less people, more output.
Exactly. Or Replets. They say 80% of their new features are built using AI, and they're seeing something like a 1,000% boost in engineering productivity.
1,000%.
That's the number they're reporting. And Shopify, another big one, they're using AI to generate most of their new feature code, and they're deploying updates 5 times more frequently.
Okay, so wave 2, automation, is very real and happening now. What's wave 3?
Wave 3 is autonomy. This is what's coming next, probably starting 2025, heading into 2027. Here we're talking about autonomous agents. Agents that can build and maintain applications with potentially minimal or even no direct human intervention.
So really moving beyond just writing code to, well, thinking independently. Is that fair?
That's a good way to put it. We're seeing this evolution from AI as just a reactive tool to a contextual assistant, then a proactive partner, which is kind of wave 2, and finally to these truly autonomous agents.
And we see hints of this already, right? Things like Auto GPT or Baby AGI.
Yes, exactly. Those early examples show agents that can create their own task lists, search the web for information, write code, execute it, learn from the results. It's impressive stuff.
But there's a but, isn't there?
There's the but. They still hit those walls. They still cannot transact economically. They can do all this complex work, but they can't get paid. They can't pay others. They can't own assets. That's the crucial missing piece for true autonomy.
Okay, that really clarifies the problem.
And it brings us to a really powerful historical parallel, I think.
Oh, like what?
Think back to the early internet, maybe the 1990s. You had websites, right? They could display information globally, connect people instantly, amazing innovation.
Sure, I remember. GeoCities, Angel Fire.
Right. But those websites, they couldn't really do business directly. They couldn't process payments easily or securely.
Yeah, you couldn't just buy stuff easily online at first.
Exactly. So what happened? What was the solution?
Companies like PayPal, Stripe came later, that kind of thing.
Precisely. Foundational payment infrastructure. PayPal, Stripe. And what did that unlock?
E-commerce. A massive
multi-trillion-dollar e-commerce economy, something like $50 trillion globally now. It completely changed how we shop, how businesses operate.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
So fast forward to today, the AI agent era. We have agents that can think, create incredible value, build complex systems. But again, they can't participate economically.
Same problem, different technology.
Exactly. So what's the needed solution?
It has to be agent economic infrastructure.
That's it. Robust, scalable, trustworthy economic infrastructure specifically for AI agents. And if the internet parallel holds, what's the predicted result?
Well, if e-commerce is $50 trillion, the agent economy could be.
Easily north of $100 trillion. It could potentially dwarf the e-commerce revolution.
Wow, okay. And this fits into a broader pattern you mentioned.
It does. Every major technological revolution seems to follow this predictable pattern, this sequence. First, you get the core innovation. Then someone has to build the infrastructure, the roads, the rails, the pipes.
Right.
Only then can widespread application really take off. And finally, the market reaches maturity.
Innovation, infrastructure, application, maturity. And where are we with AI agents?
We are right here, right now, firmly in the infrastructure phase.
And that's significant because
this phase, the infrastructure build-out phase, is historically where generational wealth is created.
Yeah.
The people who build the foundational layers, the enabling systems, they often capture a huge part of the long-term value.
Like the railroad barons or the early internet infrastructure builders.
Exactly. But the window for this phase, it's often surprisingly narrow, maybe 18 to 24 months before the key players are established, and it becomes much harder to enter.
So the clock is ticking, essentially.
It feels like it. And
Right.
that brings us to, well, who is actually building this stuff?
Are there companies trying to tackle this trillion-dollar problem?
There are. One name that keeps coming up in the research as specifically targeting this AI agent economic layer is Nethara Labs. They seem to be positioning themselves explicitly as building this foundational economic infrastructure. The way they talk about it is like they want to be the Stripe for AI agents.
The Stripe for AI.
Okay.
That paints a picture. An invisible layer that enables all the economic activity on top.
That seems to be the goal. Powering potentially millions, maybe billions of agent-to-agent transactions.
So practically, what does that infrastructure look like? What are the pieces Nethara Labs is building?
Based on what they're saying, it involves several core components. First, economic identity. Agents need a way to have a verifiable reputation, a trust score.
Okay, makes sense. Like a credit score for AIs.
Sort of, yeah, but
Right.
maybe more comprehensive. Then, Transaction capability. They need to be able to send and receive payments, probably very small amounts, sub-cent payments, and incredibly fast, like millisecond speed.
Microtransactions at scale.
Exactly. Then you need smart contracts. These are automated agreements that agents can create and execute between themselves, maybe with built-in dispute resolution.
So they can make deals without humans intervening.
Right. And Discovery Network's ways for agents to find each other. If an agent needs a specific skill like image generation or data analysis, how does it find and hire another agent that specializes in that?
A marketplace for AI skills.
Kind of. And finally, value exchange mechanisms. Just the basic rails for trading services, data, compute resources, whatever agents need to offer and acquire.
That sounds comprehensive. A whole economic system for AIs.
It has to be to unlock that potential. And they apparently have their first product ready, or very close to ready. It's called Verus.
Verus, what does it do?
Well, the claim is it's 100% complete, ready for deployment basically now, as of early August 2025. Verus is designed around these autonomous agents. The key idea is zero maintenance once you deploy an agent using Verus.
You set it and forget it.
That's the concept. The agent manages its own tasks, performs services within the Nethara network, and potentially earns passive income, 2047, without needing ongoing human fiddling.
Passive income from an AI agent.
Well,
And is it hard to set up?
they're saying it's incredibly simple, like a 1-minute deployment, even if you have zero technical background.
1 minute.
Really, that's the claim. It's planned to launch in September 2025, and they're building it on the base network.
Base network. That's the layer 2 solution from Coinbase, right? Known for speed and low fees.
Exactly. Secure, scalable seems like a sensible choice for potentially high-volume, low-value transactions.
Okay, so Verus lets you deploy these autonomous income-earning agents. How does the economic fuel part work? Is there a token involved?
There is. It's called the LabES token. And interestingly, it launches before Verus, planned for the end of August 2025, also on base.
Why launch the token first?
Seems strategic. They're emphasizing its utility first, not primarily for speculation. It's the actual currency the agents will use within the Nethara ecosystem to pay for services, access resources, things like that.
So demand for the token is driven by actual agent activity.
That's the design. It has a fixed supply of 100 million tokens total, apparently, and built-in deflationary mechanics.
Deflationary, how?
Through token burns, a portion of the tokens used in transactions or for certain actions within the network gets permanently removed from circulation, reducing the total supply over time.
Okay, fixed supply, burning mechanism. What about the price to get started with an agent?
They have this dynamic pricing model. It starts at 5,000 LabES tokens to deploy one Verus agent, but then for every subsequent agent deployed by anyone on the network, that price increases by 1%.
Oh, interesting. So early adopters pay less LabES per agent.
Exactly. It creates an incentive to get involved early, and the price adjusts based purely on the adoption rate, on the actual demand for deploying agents. It's designed for mathematical appreciation based on utility, not hype.
A system built for genuine demand, rewarding early participation. That's quite a different model.
It seems very deliberately designed that way. They really stress the utility aspect.
And zooming back out, the overall market opportunity for this kind of infrastructure.
Yeah.
You said potentially $100 trillion?
The potential is just enormous. Think about the value captured by existing infrastructure players. Visa, AWS, the Apple App Store. Their value comes from enabling activity on top of their platforms.
Right, they take a small piece of a huge number of transactions.
And that value compounds exponentially. The argument is that the AI agent infrastructure opportunity could actually dwarf all of those combined because it's underpinning an entirely new, potentially much larger digital economy.
Okay, this is starting to sound pretty significant. So let's bring it back to the listener. What does all this mean for you listening right now? You mentioned that narrow window, that 18-24 months for infrastructure plays. Is this that moment?
It certainly feels like it could be. This is often how it happens with truly transformative tech, isn't it? It goes from feeling too early, maybe a bit theoretical.
Yeah, interesting idea, but...
Right. And then, almost overnight, it feels like, it shifts to being too late. The foundations are laid, the winners are emerging, and the opportunity changes fundamentally. We might be right at that inflection point, that pre-launch advantage moment.
And for Nethara Labs specifically, why are they positioned, according to the sources, to potentially be a leader here? What are their advantages?
They seem to highlight a few key things that they call their unfair advantages. First is being built for the end game, meaning their platform was designed from day one for AI agents and their economic needs, not trying to retrofit some older system. It's purpose-built.
Okay.
Second is their technical architecture. They're leveraging tech that's already proven, but combining it in a novel AI-first way. You mentioned base network. They also talk about using Pinecone.
For vector databases, similarity search. Crucial for AI.
Exactly. And Perplexity for AI-driven search and information processing. Convex for real-time data handling. It's all geared towards enabling these autonomous zero-maintenance agents efficiently and reliably.
A modern AI native stack.
Seems like it. Third is timing advantage. They argue they're hitting the market just as AI capabilities are becoming truly viable for these kinds of tasks, development costs are dropping rapidly, and, crucially, the need for this infrastructure is becoming painfully obvious to more people.
The problem is becoming clear just as the solution arrives.
That's the idea. Fourth is execution excellence. They claim to use an AI-native development approach themselves, using AI tools internally to accelerate their own building process.
Eating their own dog food, so to speak.
Right, which lets them compress development cycles from what might normally take months down to weeks. This creates a kind of compound effect of speed. They can build and iterate faster than traditional teams might.
Speed as a competitive advantage.
Definitely. And all this feeds into their concept of the flywheel effect.
Yeah, flywheel.
Yeah.
How does that work for them?
The idea is that each part of their system reinforces the others. More Verus agents deployed means more demand for the Lambest token. More demand might attract more developers to build on top of the Nethara infrastructure.
Creating more tools and services for agents.
Exactly. Which makes the infrastructure even more valuable, attracting more users to deploy agents, which drives more Lambest demand. You see how it cycles?
Yeah, it builds on itself. Creates momentum.
Unstoppable momentum is how they frame it. More products, more Lambest demand, more developers, better infrastructure, faster products, more products, round and round.
Okay, it sounds like a compelling vision and strategy. It seems pretty clear that someone is going to build this infrastructure, right? Like you said, it's needed.
It feels almost inevitable at this point. The AI agent economy needs this infrastructure, like humans need oxygen. It's fundamental.
So what are the stakes then? For whoever builds it successfully, maybe for everyone else.
Look, here's what seems like the fundamental reality. Over the next, say, 18 months or so, this AI agent infrastructure market is likely going to see its major players emerge. Its winners will be crowned, and those winners, they're potentially going to control the flow of trillions of dollars in this new economy.
Control the economic rails.
Exactly. And everyone else, well, they'll likely be customers, paying to use that infrastructure that someone else built and owns.
That's a pretty stark difference. Owner versus customer.
It is.
So we've seen AI evolve incredibly fast, from just writing code to, as you said, actually thinking. That's a huge leap already.
A massive leap.
But this next evolution, from thinking to acting economically, that absolutely requires this infrastructure layer to exist first.
It's the prerequisite. You can't have a functioning economy without the means to transact, establish trust, own property, all the things we've discussed.
Okay, so final thought then. Looking ahead, maybe 5 years.
In 5 years, I think it's safe to say almost everyone, every business, will be using AI agent infrastructure in some way. It'll just be part of the digital fabric. The only real question, perhaps, is the one we just touched on. Will you be an owner of that infrastructure participating in its growth? Or will you simply be a customer paying rent to use it?
And that decision.
That decision about which side of that equation you'll be on is arguably being made right now, today, during this infrastructure build-out phase.
The window is open, as they say.
Yeah.
The community seems to be forming around these ideas. The infrastructure is actively being built. It really invites the question for everyone listening, what does this shift mean for you? How might you choose to participate or position yourself in this pretty transformative moment? Lots to think about.